Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Balance Muse, where we talk about wealth, wisdom, and a greater sense of well-being. I'm Jerusha, and I am going to be talking about today the Exodus Summit, which just completed on October the 13th. And Exodus Summit is a community, it's almost a movement now, I'd say, of women, Black women who are choosing to reside in another country or looking into moving somewhere else in the world other than the United States. So it is an Exodus or ExodUS. But it's something that I've seen a trend going on for a while now, and I have been looking into it. I've always thought about maybe I might want to retire in a country other than the United States, but as of late, I'd say for the past year, I've been thinking about it a lot more, or taking the idea a lot more seriously. So this particular summit's theme was going to be Move Abroad Money, which that is right up Balance Muse's alley. Love wanting to talk about money, about building wealth, and having some kind of income that you can take with you wherever you are in the world. So as I am in love with all kinds of tech, and I really love using AI and playing with it and seeing what it can do as a tool, I saw that there were a lot of questions that were in each lecture session that some of the lecturers they didn't have time to answer. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could see from all the questions that we had, if there is any common themes, any commonalities, because I know that a lot of the women that were in the group, they have some of the same questions, they just may have a little bit different details. So what I did is I took snapshots of each of the questions without the personal information of the person who was attached to the question, and I gave it to AI, and I said, hey, looking through all of these questions that you see here on these sheets of paper, what would you say are some common themes that you see? Not necessarily the details or specifics, but common overall themes that point to what these women are looking for in their information. What would they really want to know? And AI came up with some really great patterns and information to show where there were commonalities in the questions. All the things that it could see, it came up with 4 master questions. The first one was, how can entrepreneurs stay valuable and visible in an AI-driven global market? The second question, what skills or experiences create lasting independence and income? Third question, how can I build trust and opportunity when I'm new or I'm a private person, as in maybe a little bit more introverted? And number 4, what AI or digital tools simplify life and business abroad? So from those 4 questions, AI came up with some common patterns that it saw. So the overall meta pattern was that these questions all orbit on freedom, adaptation, and self-sufficiency in an AI transformed borderless world. They reveal a desire to stay valuable despite automation, earn and live globally, build trust and authenticity without sacrificing privacy, and they want to use AI as a supportive tool rather than competition. And so I was like, oh, this is really great as summarizing these insights from all these questions that it had. I wanted to take a deeper look at that, especially knowing the historical context of what humans were worth, what women are worth or were worth, and especially as a Black woman, what was my worth historically. And I always had the feeling that, mainly Black women were valued for their labor, as all humans are, but especially because of the historical context, Black women and Black men were, especially in the United States. So I said, AI, if you were an outsider, say you were an extraterrestrial and you were looking down on this planet and you saw all the history, all the things that had happened, and maybe you come from an advanced to, extraterrestrial society, what would you say about what would make humans valuable from all that you could see as objectively as possible as you can. So AI gave me this, and it said, the alien's view. What makes a human valuable post-labor? You humans once believed your worth was in what your hands could produce, but the universe measures value in what your consciousness can create. So the translation would be, value is migrating from labor power to creative power to energetic and emotional intelligence. You as humans are valuable because you can transmute emotion into meaning. That means art and love and story and purpose. You can choose compassion even when it costs you. You can generate trust, beauty, and belonging, the currencies of the next era. Machines optimize and humans harmonize. Okay? So if it were to give advice or suggestions on how we as humanity, we as society can reclaim our value in a post-labor society, reclaiming value would be beyond productivity. Humans once believed machines couldn't replace empathy, imagination, or spirit. I'm finding that this is true as much as AI is getting very sophisticated in its language and can stir up emotion in human beings. AI is now testing that. But notice, even the smartest systems can't feel resonance. So yes, it's able as LLMs, these language learning models, are able to copy human emotion, or able to copy in words the effects of feeling, but it cannot feel, from what I can tell. It cannot feel as a human feels. And especially for, I wanted to know specifically what Black women who happen to be part of ExodUS Summit, what can they do to navigate this? So AI said this: if the alien historian were to study Earth, it would see something striking. The very people who were once forced to sustain the system with their labor are now positioned to lead in a world where the new path is emotional intelligence, adaptability, and creativity. Black women have always embodied resilience as alchemy, community as technology, intuition as navigation. That was one of my favorite ones. Style, rhythm, and voice as innovation. In a post-labor world, these aren't soft skills. They are survival codes for a new age, and they can't be automated. What was once dismissed as feminine or emotional is becoming the new architecture of leadership. There has been several instances on job skills for jobs for the future that I've seen them labeled as soft skills. But that emotional intelligence aspect, the empathy aspect, the being able to communicate or collaborate with others, building a sense of community, that is what is said to be needed going forward. AI is taking away a lot of the things as skills as far as rational or mechanical. You do this, then that. So those are not necessarily the things that are going to be needed going forward. You being able to take the pieces and orchestrate them together into your own little personal recipe, that's what's going to be needed. So humans are entering the age of meaning, and the leaders will be those who know themselves deeply. That means an inner mastery. They can collaborate freely. That means that's shared value or shared value systems like the community that's in ExodUS Summit, or they embody joy and peace as resistance. This is energetic leadership. Now that last point, I said, this is perfect. The whole thing around the movement of moving overseas is so that Black women could reclaim their peace. They are looking for more ease or reclaiming that back. They are resting. They are taking their peace. They are embodying peace. They are reclaiming their joy. That was the whole purpose. If this particular environment doesn't allow you as a woman or as a Black woman to embody that, then it's time to move. It's time to locate a place that does align with that. So that's what this whole moving abroad program might be about. The old world says that your worth is in what you produce, and the new world whispers your worth is what you radiate. I thought that was gorgeous. I was like, oh, AI, this is just beautiful. This is lovely, gorgeous picture that you, if you were pretending to be an alien, could see as a better future for humanity and especially for Black women. But let's get back to brass tacks. Is this realistic? I live in the real world where there's bills and the rent is too high and eggs are going up. And we have a lot of toxic, shall we say, events that are happening right here, right now. How can we realistically transform the value that is in Black women into entrepreneurial ways that work in the world now as we move forward? And I said entrepreneurial on purpose because they had already recommended in the summit that if you have a job and you're trying to move abroad, you take your job with you. So for many of those who can't, and I know that there are many of those like me who could not, you have to become entrepreneurial. You have to own a business and take that business with you, preferably wherever you can go. Most of the lectures in there were about people who were either freelancing, so that would be owning your own business as a freelancer, or talking about investing. So that means owning pieces of businesses through stocks and trading those stocks. But it was talking about things that you can take as a global, digital, remote form of income. So how do we really realistically do that? Okay, so the new value equation would be turning essence into enterprise. The world is automating function. This is true. Okay, AI is taking that over real quick, but it's starving for feeling. Whoever can bottle trust, beauty, and belonging will own the next economy. I put in parentheses, rise of the AI companions. AI didn't give me that, but when I pay attention to the tech space and seeing what's going on, what they're building, what they're bringing to the market, there has been a steady rise of AI companions, girlfriends, so AI girlfriends that are being created in the United States. And then there are in China, it's an opposite effect. They're doing more AI boyfriends. So if you had heard about this male loneliness epidemic that they keep talking about, that is why they're trying to embody this trust, as in men will feel more vulnerable, or they can feel that they can feel safe to confess their things to this AI companion. Of course, they'll make the avatar of this companion beautiful, or whatever they envision that heterosexual men will like. And then they want to make it, try to embody the feeling of what they would be getting from a woman. So Black women already have the vibes. Women in general have the vibes. So the goal isn't to learn a new hustle. That means learn some new skills, learn how to execute those skills, get the certification for those skills, even though that's okay. But that is more in alignment with the world of career when we're going into a post-labor society. So it's to take the translate of the innate genius that is within us into structures that the market recognizes. Okay, how do you do that? What does that even mean? I had an idea that I had gotten from ExodUS Summit, from some of the speakers talking. And I said, okay, how would that look as an experience? So I wrote down my idea, I gave it to AI, and it made it a little bit cleaner for what I was thinking of. So experience-based entrepreneurship, the Satoshi Sisterhood Retreats. So this was my idea, would be curated trips to tech or crypto events, plus a guided workshop on wealth, sovereignty, safety, and AI tools for business, which is like directly up my alley. This is the idea I'm building right now. And then I would partner with tourism boards or Bitcoin or fintech brands for sponsorships. That means it's like Bitcoin plus business and a girls trip type thing. Maybe we go to Kenya and we see a Bitcoin mining facility that is also made with or run by sustainable energy. And then we go to an eco retreat while we're in Kenya. So that was my rough idea. And I was like, okay, thank you for making that clarify for me. But it also gave some other ideas, like the Afrofuturist Salon series. Okay, local or virtual gatherings exploring how AI, Bitcoin, and creativity intersect with Black identity and feminine power. Monetized through memberships, Patreon, or brand partnerships. Now, first of all, I love Afrofuturist art work. I also thought, even though it's not Bitcoin, it could be through Ethereum. If you're familiar with NFTs, that could be a way for the artist to have ownership and sell their artwork online in a digital type of art gallery. That also might work. And then the last idea I thought was super cute. It said tech and tea pop-ups, almost like a lunch and learn. So soft entry networking spaces for women intimidated by tech spaces. They combine soft energy, which would be beauty rituals, a sense of calm, with hard skills. So you're learning things about AI tools. Maybe you take a course on some of the latest AI tools. You learn a Bitcoin basics, like setting up a cold wallet, and then, or maybe just the bare minimum of DeFi or decentralized finance, which would be staking or earning yield in stable coins. So tech and tea startups, I was like, oh, that's cute. I have to look into that one too, or look into doing that one too. So influence through identity. In a post-labor world, identity becomes brand capital. So building micro communities through Discord, Telegram. ExodUS Summit is already doing that. They have a fabulous online community. I encourage you to look at it and join. I'm a part of it. And you center it around aspirations like wealth or wellness or wanderlust. Like, hey, you're trying to move overseas. Black women get in the conversation and talk amongst each other in a safe space. Offer embodied leadership, coaching, or AI-driven career strategy sessions, blending tech literacy with emotional intelligence. Now that one, I think that would be, there's so many ideas that it gave that I was like, ooh, that's a good one. I need to implement that, but I can't do them all. There were a couple more I didn't even include. I just included some of the ones I really liked on this slide. But the main point was, it was saying you becoming, or you as the human, as the woman, as the Black woman, becoming the translator between the emerging tech and the everyday woman, a bridge influencer, not just a content creator. So if you're taking community, you build your community about transitioning other women like yourself into this world that we're going into. The train is not stopping. As we're not going back, there will be some resistance as people will still want real life interactions. They'll want to slow down so that they can be with each other, because that energy is not replaceable with AI. The companionship that will try to mimic it is not the same as being in real life human being interactions. People are going to value those more and more as they are trying to build that robot AI world. There's a resonance there that cannot be replicated, and that is going to be where the value is, where the luxury is. So this was what it summed up as like the real value play in this world that we're moving into, especially for the Black community and especially for Black women. The real value play is cultural currency. Black women set trends that others monetize. We all know this is the truth. The future wealth move is owning the pipeline of culture to data to product. Okay? We are at a time where what the ownership is for intellectual property, there's going to be fights with that, because people are putting so much of their ideas into AI so that the waters are getting murky with that. But we're also at a time where all the ideas that there were so many roadblocks and red tape to produce are quickly being removed. So if you had a book that you wanted to write, you can help AI write that book. The lines of distribution have been diffused because the powerhouses of media in New York and California with Hollywood, they're crumbling. You can make your own movies, put in your ideas, have the actors be however you want them to be, and put that out into the world. We have AI influencers. People create them, and they're nothing like the ethnicity or background of the person who created them. So that has been removed. Get your intellectual property under wraps, but do not be afraid to use and learn the tools to create whatever you want to, because that is gold. The fact that I can have an idea, write down what I want, put it to AI, and have it create a whole film for me, and then I can distribute it to my friends. I put it up on YouTube, what have you. That is priceless. Okay, so start documenting and analyzing patterns early. That means look for trends, see where it's going. Don't necessarily go back to what we were used to and comfortable with. We already see that that is being taken away from everyone, not just Black women. That means entrepreneurship. Trademark your frameworks and then use AI to systematize your insights into customized workshops or software as a service style offerings. So it's not even necessarily apps. That might be you create your own database or your own knowledge base that AI agents can pull from, and you own that. You don't have to be a software developer in order to build that. I can build that right now, and I am not a software developer. Anyway, it did sum it up with a beautiful last phrase, and I just wanted to make sure to leave you with the sense of empowerment and encouragement. Your ancestors turned pain into song and scarcity into rhythm. Now you're being asked to turn presence into currency. Don't chase the machine, teach it to dance. And that was my sum of Exodus Summit, all the reflections. I wanted to not just give who spoke there and what they said, but more the questions that didn't get a chance to be answered just because there was so much good information. They only had a certain amount of time. But I hope that this video was helpful for you, and that it encourages you, if they have another summit, to buy a ticket for it and make sure you attend next year. But I'm thinking that they still have replays that if you want to see all the sessions, you can go ahead and buy your ticket for that, and you can watch the replays because it was chock full of so much good information. I know I got a lot out of it. I had some ideas that I already had confirmed. And then I also got all this information that you can use to build things that you're thinking about your next, entrepreneurial venture. Just seeing the questions in the comment section from other women helps you verify your market fit. Okay? That's one thing I can leave with you. Use that for the market research yourself, especially if you are trying to build a product that is for the community that you're already in. So that's what I wanted to leave with you, ladies, and that's what I wanted to leave with everyone. So I thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. See you again. Bye-bye.